Myself some assistance. My brother come through like sniper, he knock you off from a distance. Big foe with no foe, I'm balling just like a piston. We get the damn. Heard it's another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot and some titties. I ain't with the drama. I'm just trying to touch a milli. I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot and some titties. I ain't with the drama. I'm just trying to touch a milli. I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Plug pull up with the pack and I ain't even bust it down. Couple minutes on my phone, I promise I'm gonna get it gone. I stay solid, I get caught, I'm fighting till they sit me down. You get caught, you singing like a nigga in the studio. Brody sold the whip for 1,000 cause we just slid in it. I really make a house call, fuck if your kids in it. Been through some shit that's why my heart too froze. You ain't living what you rapping in a studio. You get your noodle blown, fucking with the opposition. My brother making decisions on anybody that's dissing. With the quickness, I'ma make a decision, I'm on a mission. You tripping, thinking we missing, I'm shooting up with precision. Red beam on the barrel to give myself some assistance. My brother come through like sniper, he knock you off from a distance. Big foe with no foe, I'm balling just like a piston. We get the damn. Heard it's another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot and some titties. I ain't with the drama. I'm just trying to touch a milli. I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot and some titties. I ain't with the drama. I'm just trying to touch a milli. I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Plug pull up with the pack and I ain't even bust it down. Couple minutes on my phone, I promise I'm gonna get it gone. I stay solid, I get caught, I'm fighting till they sit me down. You get caught, you singing like a nigga in the studio. Brody sold the whip for 1,000 cause we just slid in it. I really make a house call, fuck if your kids in it. Been through some shit that's why my heart too froze. You ain't living what you rapping in a studio. You get your noodle blown, fucking with the opposition. My brother making decisions on anybody that's dissing. With the quickness, I'ma make a decision, I'm on a mission. You tripping, thinking we missing, I'm shooting up with precision. Red beam on the barrel to give myself some assistance. My brother come through like sniper, he knock you off from a distance. Big foe with no foe, I'm balling just like a piston. We get the damn. Heard it's another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot and some titties. I ain't with the drama. I'm just trying to touch a milli. I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot and some titties. I ain't with the drama. I'm just trying to touch a milli. I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Plug pull up with the pack and I ain't even bust it down. Couple minutes on my phone, I promise I'm gonna get it gone. I stay solid, I get caught, I'm fighting till they sit me down. You get caught, you singing like a nigga in the studio. Brody sold the whip for 1,000 cause we just slid in it. I really make a house call, fuck if your kids in it. Been through some shit that's why my heart too froze. You ain't living what you rapping in a studio. You get your noodle blown, fucking with the opposition. My brother making decisions on anybody that's dissing. With the quickness, I'ma make a decision, I'm on a mission. You tripping, thinking we missing, I'm shooting up with precision. Red beam on the barrel to give myself some assistance. My brother come through like sniper, he knock you off from a distance. Big foe with no foe, I'm balling just like a piston. We get the damn. Heard it's another man down in my.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the El Nino Podcast. I'm Eladio Nino, and this is Real Everyday People. So, I know it's been a minute. I took a long break. I needed it. Got a lot going on. Had a lot of transitioning going on. Switched jobs. I ended up leaving the DHDC in January, and now I'm currently working for the Wayne County Juvenile Detention Facility. So, it's been a journey, but I love what I'm doing. I'm on the right path. And, I was working from the outside in, and now I'm in, and, I'm still making an impact. My whole purpose is to redeem, to redeem myself, to right my wrongs. You guys know my story. I've shared it on, many, many different times with many different guests. But, thank you for all the love and support, everybody who's been anticipating, the next coming episodes. Today, I have a back-to-back episodes today with some awesome brothers, with some awesome people. And, today, right now at this moment, I have a guest with me that, absolute solid brother, good friend, met him on the inside, been rocking with him on the outside. I consider him a brother, a friend. friend, a mentor. He's here from Michigan, but he moved to San Antonio, Texas. He's been taking care of his business and continuing his journey and his work out there. And he came in town for a visit, and I just could not pass up the opportunity to be able to have him here and share his story. We got my brother, my friend Maximo Anguiano.
Hey, my man Nino, much love to you, my brother.
Thank you, brother.
You know, you I gotta say, man, it's all love, because you just a solid dude, man. You know, when we talk about brothers addressing brothers, man, we can say that it's love, it's respect.
Absolutely.
And that's how we got to address it. You know, we got to model the way for a lot of our young people, a lot of our other brothers who are not there yet in their chapters of their stories, right? Many people that we rock with, their stories are not yet written and not yet complete. You know, so you modeling the way, man, and I'm with you tonight, man. I'm rocking with you. I'm on your steps tonight, man.
Man, listen, I'm so honored. I feel privileged to have you here. Thank you for taking time, you know what I'm saying, coming into town and taking time to come here, see me, visit me, share your story with my people, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So me and Maximo, we met inside. I was at JCS in Jackson at the time, and I at the time was the president of HASTA. So HASTA is a civic group, and it's an organization within prison for the Latino population. You know, it's what brought the Latino community together. No matter where you were from, no matter what flag you were flying, what set you were from, everybody left their flag at the doors, and we came in and we picked up our banderas that represent our culture, our people, and our origins of our heritage. And we would educate each other. We were able to form a community and a brotherhood in there. And what took us the extra mile is being able to have a sponsor. So Maximo, he was a teacher at the Jackson Community College. We reached out to him, and he took time out of his life to be able to come inside to the prison and educate us and build with us and build a relationship with us, with me, with Rick Speck, with Jose Rivera, with Mario Bueno, and so many other brothers that were there, who are home now and doing excellent things and positive things in their lives, and also pouring into their communities and giving back to the people. But this brother here, Maximo, man, had such a huge impact on my life. You know what I'm saying? Even prior to me, before I got out of prison, he took time on a home visit and came and visited me while I was at Macomb Correctional Facility, and that really meant a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? And to have him here in my home to see me on my journey, and everything that I've invested in my life, in my personal life, into my podcast, and to have him here is an absolute honor. I wish everybody I knew had the opportunity to sit down with this brother. He's very vibrant, very intelligent, very knowledgeable, and he's just a good time all across the board. He's solid, and I can't wait for you guys to hear his story.
Man, I got to live up to this introduction. My goodness. First of all, man, respect to you and your hosting skills.
Thank you.
Because that is an art as well. Your communication skills have always been on point. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I try to pour in everywhere I go is charisma, because in the industry of entertainment, charisma will take you places. I don't care if you're doing pro wrestling, stand-up comedy, if you're hosting your podcast from your basement on the east side of Detroit. Hey, you got to make a name for yourself these days. You know what I'm saying? And there's never been a better opportunity with the internet for us to come up and tell our stories and link people together. Really, the part about social media and the part of us being media outlets in ourselves is to make connections with people, man. And so,
Absolutely.
When you talk about the connection that we had on the inside, man, I mean, bruh, you want to talk about one of the most transformative experiences of my life. It was being on the inside with you guys, man.
Yes,
and
sir.
Everybody that I brought in has said the same thing.
Absolutely.
They said, man, that was the best speaking engagement. That was the best performance I've ever had in my life because of what you brothers did. Now, I don't think you guys knew how much power y'all had in those moments. And I'm here with my partner tonight, and she asked me, she was like, wait a minute, you was inside of a prison and you did that? I said, we was inside of a prison and did that. And people wouldn't believe.
Bro, I got goosebumps right now.
Bro, people wouldn't believe the conversations, the realness of men dropping their guards, as you just mentioned, to have some real conversations.
Listen,
heart to heart. Hard conversations that, listen, I told my partner tonight, because my partner, I want to acknowledge my partner, Destiny Hernandez, who's here with me tonight in this wonderful studio. She told me a long time ago, in other words, if you're going to make it with me, you need to do some work on yourself. Right?
That's right.
Because we know a lot of our young men, a lot of our young men of color, a lot of our young boys need to do some work on ourselves, admittedly. Right? And I said, we coming out here to rock with El Nino podcast because my man has had a lot of time to work on himself.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And one of the things, I don't know where we want to go with this today, but I want to take you out of the interview spot and put me in the host spot, because I wanted to ask you, man, like, how have you changed over the years, man? You know what I'm saying? From all the things that you've been through, man. You telling us before when the cameras came on that you was 9 years old.
Yeah.
As a part of this system. And look, you work with young people. I work with young people. We tell them, look, if you don't start making some better choices, there's a place for you to go. That this system's already got set up to enter you into that system.
Absolutely.
And then all those decisions you wish you could have done differently, you would have hoped you would have just made one choice in the other direction.
No, absolutely. I just, growing up, bouncing around state to state, institution to institution, I learned how to adapt to my environment. But that wasn't healthy for me. That was just me knowing how to survive. The true power came in building a relationship with the higher power, doing a lot of internal work, a lot of soul searching, finding meaning and purpose in the suffering, finding my own personal purpose, building a relationship with God, understanding who I am, reflecting, doing inventory, healing, forgiving, going back to childhood and forgiving everybody who violated me. Because I at a point, I was always asking forgiveness, but wasn't willing to forgive those who had violated me as a child and during my adolescence. And, part of forgiving was one of the main factors that I was able to open up my mind, open up my heart, and be able to heal. And now I don't need to adapt to any environment. I come in as I am, and I bring my gifts with me.
Yeah.
I bring the gift of love. I bring the gift of growth. I bring the knowledge that I experienced through my journey, through the suffering. And for me, that is plenty. It is enough. I'm an asset to the community. I'm an asset to society. I'm an asset to my family.
Yeah.
I'm an asset in my home. As before, I was a detriment because I was only a product of my environment. But now that I know the power that I possess, now I utilize that power to uplift people, to educate people, and to show people that they too have the same power and they have the opportunity to change and build and live the life they want to live. You just have to be able to go back, hold yourself accountable, learn to love, learn the true definition of love, knowing the difference between circumstantial, unconditional, redefining manhood, redefining brotherhood, friendship, loyalty, all these great things that have been watered down by the streets and all its ethics. And I think one of the biggest issues that society has today is that nobody trusts each other.
Trust.
Not family, not brothers, not sisters, not parents, not community, not neighbors. And it's so sad and it's so unfortunate because it's made everybody so cutthroat towards each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was not God's intention for creating people. We are the rulers of the earth. And not only that, but as men, we were born with the responsibility to take care and protect the elderly, our women, and our children. We are the warriors in our villages, and it is our responsibility to be able to do these things. And I think that redefining manhood for our young people, redefining womanhood, getting back to, the true concept of community, respect for one another, acceptance and not judging, because, a lot of times people talk about white America and all their biasness and stereotypes. We don't have to worry about no white man system, no prison system, because we're sitting here killing ourselves off. You know what I'm saying? We don't trust each other. We're biased towards each other. We're stereotypical towards each other. We're prejudiced towards each other. You know what I'm saying? And they're just kicking back like, hey, we don't even have to do any work. We could just let them kill themselves off, you know? And that's what's really going on right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of work to be done, man. And, you know, I think there's a call to action out there. If you're watching this, man, we got to do what we can for ourselves, for our communities, for our families, for our neighborhoods. Let's clean out our own kitchens. Let's clean out our own houses. And then let's start with our neighborhood. Let's start with our front yard. Let's start with our neighbor's yard. You know, we've got to try what we can, because if we don't, look at the alternative. You know, well, my man just said it. We killing each other. We're incarcerated, man. We have mental incarceration. You know what I mean? And we've got to do better for ourselves, for our kids, man, because if not, they're going to repeat them cycles.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm hearing a lot of things from you, man, about learning and unlearning and relearning and discipline and doing right by each other and trust, man. Those are some heavy topics in our communities, man.
Absolutely.
You know?
And making a once and for all decision, because I did that straddling the fence thing. You know, I'm doing all this good and I'm just doing a little bit of bad, but that little bit of bad made all this good go away. So I realized that straddling the fence was not healthy. You know, you have to know what side of the street you're going to walk on, and you got to stay committed to that and stay devoted to your journey, because I'll tell you what, I disappointed a lot of people. I hurt a lot of people. I was ashamed of myself because I did gain a lot of people's trust, administrative trust. And, you know, people gave me the opportunity because they seen something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time. But, you know, like they say, there's no greater teacher than experience itself. And, you know, I went through a hard time. I made bad decisions when I was in prison. Even 2 years prior to me getting out, I made a poor decision and was selling drugs. I ended up getting caught. I ended up going to court. I got convicted. They gave me more time. The parole board, once I went to go see them, they added on another year because I ended up catching the case. And the same year that I was supposed to come home, my father had passed away. And you know, I kick myself in the ass all the time, because had I would have made the right decision, I'd have been home in time, you know, to be able to spend some time with my father. And I wasn't raised with my father. I built my relationship entirely while I was in prison. The 17 years that I was in there, I learned to love my father. I learned to respect my father. And more so than anything, I learned more about myself, you know, and who I was and where I come from and what my strengths were and what my weaknesses were, you know. But that's why I say that it's so important to know what side of the street that you're walking on, because straddling the fence is detrimental to your well-being and to your success.
Well, one of the things I'm hearing from your message, and first of all, let me just thank you, because it takes a lot to verbalize some of these things that you're talking about. Most men would shy away from that, right? Yeah. But what I'm hearing from you, man, is honesty. You know, honesty is a tough subject for a lot of young men, for a lot of young men in the hood, for a lot of our brothers. You know, we got to be honest and look ourselves in the mirror, right?
Absolutely.
We got to be honest.
That's
man.
where it starts.
Honesty is a hard thing, particularly when you're looking at the president of the United States. When he wants to be dishonest, all you got to say is, oh, it's fake news, right? All you got to do is make up some bullshit. Can we say bullshit on this?
You can say whatever you want to say.
Okay, I just want to make
brother.
sure. I just want to make sure I'm not offending anybody in the.
It's called real everyday people for a
real
reason.
everyday people. Look. When folks, we've got to be honest with ourselves. We've got to look ourselves in the mirror, and we got to face up to some of the things that we've done, some of the things that, you know, some of the hard truths. They say the truth hurts, you know, and again, it's about, you know, rewriting some of the wrongs, but also walking on that right path in the future.
Yes,
the future, for ourselves, for our families, you know what I'm saying? And so, man, it's a difficult subjects, man, but I'm glad we're using this time on this podcast to talk about some of these hard subjects, you know?
I want to say one of the most epic times that I've had with you was when you came in for Cinco de Mayo. We had a Cinco de Mayo event at Jackson Cooper Street in Jackson in Michigan. And, man, this brother brought in Sam, Big Sam. Shout out to Big Sam. And also Miguel Reyes. Shout out to Reyes. He's established himself here in Southwest Detroit. When I came home, he started the Culture Creators. If it would have not been for you, I never would have met Reyes. And when I came home, he was very well established, and we stayed locked in, you know. And he's doing a lot of positive things for the community, bringing out the best in the youth in our community. But more so than anything, you know, this brother never judged any of us. He came and he wanted to bring in something positive. He brought in students from Jackson Community College. He brought in community members from Jackson, from Lansing, from a little bit of everywhere. Meeting his father. You know, his father did a lot of activism work. I even read about him in the newspaper. What was the thing that he did when he would set the shoes up in front of the Capitol building in Lansing? Did that have something to do with immigration?
Has something to do with immigration.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Stolen bodies, stolen people.
Yes,
yeah.
And I thought that was definitely very awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, I just had so much respect for your father. You know, at his age, continuously be advocating for the people, and then to see, you know, his son right by his side picking up the torch and taking it to another level and coming on the inside and contributing to our well-being. You brought fresh air, you brought sunlight, you brought positivity, you breathed life into us, bro.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, I mean, the pleasure was all mine. And like I said, you know, I've been doing a lot of different things, you know, in my life and trying to use whatever avenue that we can to get certain messages across. And, you know, I like to believe that everyone is born for a certain purpose. You know what I mean? Everyone has a certain purpose. And for some reason, I've always had this outspokenness, right? Or whatever you want to call it, right? These communicative skills to get some messages out there. And if you got a voice, you might as well use it for something good. And
yes,
and I tell you what, people always ask me, you know, Maximo, how did you get started with doing this stuff that you're doing, right? Of all this different stuff, of writing, of hosting shows, of speaking to people, of you know, of acting and producing. People ask me, how did you get started? And I tell them a story about an event, a moment that happened on the inside. And it was after one of our events, and I don't remember, it might have been the Cinco de Mayo event. Mm-hmm. There was a brother that walked up to me at the end, one of these events that you're talking about. I don't remember which one it was. It might have just been a regular Tuesday night or whatever night we was having a meeting.
Yep.
And this guy came up to me. I'll never forget the guy. He was missing teeth. You know, he was a guy that had some hard luck. And he was an older guy, probably about double my age. And he came up to me and he shook my hand and he was like, hey, thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And you know how when you dab people up, you there's a moment where you let go of the hand, right? You dab them up and then you move on. My man dabbed me up, and as I'm going to pull away, he pulls me back. And he says, nah, man, I want to thank you. And this brother looks into my soul with everything that he had. And he said, no, you got to keep doing what you're doing and keep speaking for us. He said, don't you realize you're everything that we thought we could have been? He said, look at us, man. Our lives are over. He said, my life is ruined. He said, you got a chance for all of us. Bro, at that moment, I was like, man.
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
For a dude I don't even know.
Yeah.
For a guy I don't even know. For a guy who from all intents and purposes, society would look at him and say, he's a hardened criminal. He ain't worth nothing. This man spoke life into me in that moment. I'll never forget it. That was one of the moments that, yo, I'm going to take this whole fucking world by storm. Everyone's going to fucking know who I am after that one moment right there.
Absolutely.
I said, they're going to see something like, ain't nobody ever going to see nothing like me before after that moment.
And that's what I'm saying, bro. You brought life into us. You brought life into a space where we weren't looked at as humans. We were looked at as second class citizens, or what do they call them? Rejected society's rejects, and then, being in prison, like I said, bro, they take your identity, they take your name, they give you a number, you become part of a business. Your number is a stock number now, so when we have people that come in and treat us, and greet us, you know what I'm saying, and show us love, like, you never know what you got until you don't got it no more. So when you came in and you showed us, you know, that type of love, and you took time out of your day. You could have been doing anything with your life that day. You could have been anywhere else, you know, but you took time to come in there and be with us. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we were all grateful. We were very grateful for you to be able to come in, and you was a younger brother too. You know what I'm saying? And you know, everything that you contributed to us, anything that we needed, you were willing to be there and assist us. You know, so yeah, absolutely, man. We salute you anywhere, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And you know, when you told me you were moving to San Antonio, you know, at first I was like, man, you know, one of the best people that I've ever met is about to leave. But I said, you know what? You know, God, you know, sometimes people are here for a season, sometimes for a reason, sometimes for a day, a month, a year, but whatever it was impactful, it was powerful, it was purposeful. And I said, he's going to take his blessings and he's going to go and he's going to extend and expand himself out in San Antonio. And I've been keeping up with you and, you know, staying in touch here and there and just watching you and watching you thrive and watching you do your thing. And I love it. I respect it. It's admirable. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I've been home. I've been doing my thing.
You're doing
you know,
your thing,
taking
man.
care of my
You're
business.
doing your thing.
Yup,
You're doing your
definitely.
thing, and I'm proud of you, man. You know, we talked about the idea of mentorship earlier, and the mentorship is a correlation. The mentor gets just as much out of it as the mentee. And when we say mentorship, it is a lateral relationship. It is iron sharpening iron, steel sharpening steel.
Absolutely.
You know, and so we can only get better that way. You know, when I was coming in, you mentioned coming in on the inside. Look, I never saw nobody beneath me. I never saw myself better than anybody, man. When I was talking with you guys, it was like we was talking as boys. We was talking as family.
Yes,
like ain't no, you know, I didn't been around enough to know that you guys are like family, man. You guys are like my cousins. You guys are like distant relatives that I just hadn't met yet.
Absolutely.
Right? Because of the way we would communicate, the way we would talk. And I remember when I first came in, you bringing me up a lot of memories. When I first came in, you guys would say, oh, my name is so-and-so, and this is what I'm in for. I felt like saying, bro, I don't care what you in for. You know what I'm saying? What's that got to do with us right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, we rewriting the relationship. You know, we could talk about the incarceration, you know, system and the rehabilitation process, you know, for a long time. There's a lot of things this country hasn't gotten right. But one of the things that we're getting right now is getting the opportunity to rewrite narratives. And so that's why I'm proud of you for having this podcast, man, for having this space right here, having the people that you have in the room right now to support you.
Absolutely.
Because you don't get that. And again, it's something you built. You talk about 5 years worth of work, over 160 episodes. You got a crew here. You got people supporting you. You got a network. We need to support more people like Nino that are out here doing the right things.
Absolutely.
For all the reasons.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Because I went through it. I went through it with myself to get to where I'm at today, you know, and this is a decision that you have to make every day. You know what I'm saying? It's not just I choose to do this one day and then you ride it out. Every day you have to choose God. Every day you have to choose to do the right thing. Every day you have to be a person of empathy. You have to be a person of ethics. Every day I have to choose to be professional. Every day I have to choose to be strong and to grow and to be a student and to be a teacher, knowing when to speak and knowing when not to speak. When you spoke about, you know, our palabra, that's one of the things that I learned at the National Compadres Network. We talk about the power of our palabra, the power of our word, and how with words we can heal people or we can hurt people. You know, with words it has destroyed civilizations. You know what I'm saying? It has created war and it has brought about peace. You know, and I tell people that, you know, it's very important to be mindful of the words that you use and what you're putting out into the universe, because that's what you're inviting. Every time I meet a person and I shake their hand, you need to understand that you're not just greeting people in the flesh, but you're greeting people in the spirit as well. And that's why we have intuition. When a person who's negative walks in the room, you can feel that vibration. The same way that a person that walks in the room and has a positive aura with them, you also feel that as well. But people need to understand that the word is so powerful. It can uplift people, even when parents are talking to their children. I know so many parents who yell at their children, cuss at their children, and then they become a part of that. You know, it's traumatizing for some, you know, and it's important to be mindful because, you know, the words that you speak are a reflection of your thoughts, and your thoughts, dictate the way you behave, the way that you speak, the way that you treat people, the energy that you possess, the energy that you invite into your life. So, I just want people to understand how important it is to be mindful of the words that you speak.
You're right, man. You're right. You speaking on this brother is divinely inspired and spiritually motivated. My goodness, man. I can see why you get all these podcasts done, man. You got a lot to say. This guy's got some good guests coming on the show as well. And so, listen, it's funny. First of all, I want to go back and thank you for the hat. Thank you for this wonderful
absolutely.
Detroit Lions hat.
Absolutely,
I'm going to put a $5 parlay on the Detroit Lions to make the Super Bowl.
That's right.
And so let's see if I hit by the end of the year. Come see me in January, and then we'll see. Maybe I can afford a nice necklace like my man too. But also, listen. You mentioned San Antonio. Look, I got much love for my people. Everybody down in San Antonio. You're doing good work. You talked about the National Compadres Network that's out in California. We are linking communities together through this work from Detroit, Michigan, San Antonio, Texas, Southern California, Florida. We've got people all over from the Carolinas, New York, Boston. We've got other people out in Philly that I know are big supporters of my work, of his work, and it's people rewriting the narratives. And look, everywhere I go, people ask me, well, where are you from? I say, well, I live down in San Antonio, and they're like, no, you're not from San Antonio, man. I could tell you're not from San Antonio, man. Sure. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm originally from Michigan. I just claim all of Michigan because people know that we got a little different swag up here in the mitten, right?
Absolutely.
Up in Detroit, it's just a little bit of a different swag up here, right? And it's maybe an unwritten or an unspoken to and unclaimed swag when you think about the national, dynamic of people, because the United States has a rich tapestry of many different cultures and many different evolutions of how our people came to be. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And so, we up here, somebody mentioned up in Dearborn or the shirt you were wearing on one of the podcasts was in Arabic. And I'm thinking, man, there's so much culture and history and tradition up here in Michigan itself.
Absolutely. Yup. And it was so cool because I got so much recognition from people when I wore this shirt. It says Detroit in Arabic. I bought it in Dearborn. I was actually holding an outdoor podcast in Dearborn with some guests, and they had some vendors out there. Immediately, I bought one. I wanted to represent. I always want to support small business, and everybody, anybody from Arab descent was like, "Oh, wow!" It was nice to see somebody representing. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't, from their heritage, but also, like I said, supporting. I have no barriers when it comes to being a humanitarian. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person I like to break down all barriers and build bridges. I have respect for everybody's, belief system. You know what I'm saying? And I love being able to collaborate with people and share my experiences, share my story, and share my culture, because I think that, the culture of my people, I think the culture of our city, you know what I'm saying, is beautiful. And I think that our biggest strength is the diversity that we have.
Yeah, man. There's so much rich aspects of everything that we're talking about. It's funny because as he's talking, my mind is like fluttering with ideas and concepts and memories and stuff, man. And so I'm sure it's the same vice versa, man. But I want to give a shout out to everyone that supported the El Nino podcast, whether you've been a previous guest, whether you've been a sponsor to one of his, events. I really see this as a hub for a lot of people that are making their way through Detroit. You mentioned having, Miguel Reyes from Reyes Poetry,
yes,
right? He's been on the show. You've had other people on the show, man. So the who's who of Detroit, the who's who on the east side of Michigan has been on this show, man. You know what I'm saying? And so you can make a dream like this, right? It can be done. Right, as they say, si se puede. You can do all the things you want to do. Now, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some grit. It's going to take some effort. But you got time to get this stuff done, right? If you got a dream, if you've got goals and ambition, we want to help you power and fuel that forward, man. And we all got things that we want to do in our lives.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Things and stories that we need to do, and purposes and passions. And so hopefully if you're watching this, you can feel empowered to live some of that truth, because it can be done, right? Out of all the negative things that we've talked about and shared out there in society, and there's enough that we can dwell on those things all day, positive things can be done as well. You could even host your own podcast called Legal Aliens.
Yeah, shout out to my man Brian Ruiz and my man's Mario from Legal Aliens podcast. Big shout out to Detroit Action. We got the whole crew in the studio, man. I can feel the vibes. I feel the energy. I feel the power, just in the studio, man. I love it. Shout out to Josh Puckett, Raul Echeverria. We got my man Boris here. We got Laura in the house. We got Joanna. We got Aref Naji. We got everybody in here, man. It's beautiful. And I love it. I love it that my space is full of positive souls,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
everybody
man.
putting in work, man, and we all come from something,
Yeah, man. Well, it's good. It's good to have people around you that feel comfortable with themselves to give to uplift other people, right? And to uplift other spaces, and we scratch each other's backs, right? And we all are helping each other do things. It's funny because down here in this studio, one of these days you got to give a walking tour of this studio. And just go, hey, this is what this is right on camera, and explain what this stuff means to you, man.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I'm thinking of artistry, and I'm thinking of expression through some of the things that you have up here. One of my favorite movies, for whatever reason, you have a poster of the Warriors.
The Warriors.
You remember that?
Yes.
Warriors,
come out and play.
come out to play. Clinging those bottles. It's one of the most eerie moments in film, but it was like an iconic thing, right?
Absolutely.
And you think of the film and the storyline. I mean, that movie probably never won an Academy Award, but in the hood, that's a legend. That's
Absolutely,
a legendary film and
for
scene.
sure. That was actually, only the strong survive.
Right?
Survival of the fittest. That's
Man.
what represented that right there. But I love when people come down here, especially for the first time, and even the second and third, because little by little I'm always adding things. But everything in here is a reflection of who I am. It represents my interests, my likes, who I am. My history, my past, my present, my future. My stage has evolved. Big shout out to my wife. She got this done by Richie Blanco. Had my whole back done for me for my birthday. You know what I'm saying? I wanted that urban touch. I wanted it to represent, me, my community, the work that we do. So, I love the vibe. I feel like, when you're here, you get to know who I am.
Yeah, man. It's absolutely right. It is a great representation of you, and I'm glad you're speaking about, your partner, your wife, and I want to speak about, my personal duality, my partner in life as well. Right now, we are in running for America's favorite couple from Variety magazine. We are currently in first place of the Variety magazine competition's America's favorite couple, and I told her, what better couple would it be to have a melanated, indigenous, brown, mestizo couple to be America's favorite couple. And I say that because, you have a lot of representation down here of the experience of our people, of brown people, of Mexican people, of Latin people, of indigenous people from this continent, and what you're doing right now, there's a word that comes to mind, and it's undeniable. You're not going to be denied with your messages and with your purpose, right? Because you got an opportunity right now. You got a platform. You got some things working for you.
Absolutely.
You ain't going to be denied. And if you're going to shoot 500 episodes before we get this on a major network, then, hey, so be it.
Yeah,
we're going to get there. We're going to get there together as well, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're undeniable with your purpose, man, you ain't going to be deterred. You're not going to be stopped. And the movement that many of our people have in this country, as melanated people, as people that are underserved or underrepresented, our people are undeniable, man. Our people are undeniable. You want to talk about a group of people that are over 66 million people in this country that have a purpose, that are deeply integrated into the identity of American tapestry. Folks, again, I live in San Antonio, Texas. Last time I checked, San Antonio was a Spanish name that's colonized from Europe. And we made this community of people down there. Before then, all of the United States of what we know it now was indigenous land, was native land. Okay, so there's a lot of people in this country that are trying to erase hundreds and thousands of years of history. It cannot be done. No matter what you're hearing in mainstream media, no matter who's occupying the White House at this particular moment, no matter who's voted in to the Senate, to the House, to the city council, folks, there is a movement in this country. You might not see it on mainstream media, NBC, CBS. I see BS a lot when I turn on the mainstream media.
That was a good one. I like that.
Okay? But you're not going to be able to erase hundreds and thousands of years of momentum. It is undeniable what our people contribute to the United States, or the so-called United States, the divided states, and we're here. We're not going anywhere, folks. So you can turn the channel, we still going to be here. They can turn they can shut off the stream. We're going to show you the rebroadcast, and we're going to make sure that you get the message.
That's right.
Because again, you know, what you're seeing here, this is a part of American culture, right?
Yes, sir.
This is that movie, The Warriors, was a script. Someone had a creative vision, an idea to write this script, to put it all together, right? And just like in today's era, we have the podcast.
Yep.
To communicate these messages via expression, via communication, for us to sit up here and potentially heal ourselves.
Absolutely.
To potentially heal ourselves.
Yes, this is a space for healing, for sure.
To wrap it up and say, you know what? You talked about being honest earlier. What about our young men apologizing to one another? That's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to do for our people, to come clean and to apologize sometimes. So I know we're talking about a lot of different things on this show, but I think that's okay. I only got 60 minutes, and 60 minutes is it could feel like a minute, or it could feel like 10 days, depending on how you're spending it.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about a lot of things that are going to help our communities. Sometimes we got to apologize to our people. We got to right the wrongs that we did in whatever mechanism and vehicle that we need to do that in.
You know, bro, I'm so honored to have you here and everybody else, because I was just telling my wife, like, I'm about to fold up shop. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this for 5 years. It's been out of pocket. I've been putting everything into it, pouring into it. And it just, I haven't seen, like, the results that I know what you're looking for. And, it hurt my heart. Even my wife was like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And I'm like, I'm really not, left with any options. I don't have the support that I feel like I need, and I just can't afford to keep coming out of pocket for it. And everything I do, I pray before I do it. And it's like, here I am, you know what I'm saying, a week later, and my whole studio is just full of great people, God's people, powerful people, people who have forgiven, people who have been forgiven, people who have forgave others, people who love people, you know what I'm saying? And that's why God is so real, you know what I'm saying, for me, man. And that's how I know I'm on the right path, because I always tell people that, every day we're in a battle with flesh and spirit. And for so long, I lived a life where I did what I always thought was best, and things never really worked out for me. And now I live a life where I'm guided by the Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to tap in with the higher power to make sure I'm on the right path. I'm in the right place. I'm having the right conversations. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be anywhere that I'm not supposed to be, And if I'm there for a reason, And there's a reason why everybody is here today, So thank you all. Thank everybody. Thank you, brother. Like I said, you came all the way from San Antonio. You could have been doing anything else today. You chose to be here. You know what I'm saying? I thank you. I'm grateful for you, and I look so forward to, our brotherhood building, you know what I'm saying, from here and beyond, meeting your partner, Destiny. She's part of the Comadres Network. That's dope. That's awesome. You know what I'm saying? For her to be aware of the palabra, of the circles, and Jerry Theo and all that, like, that's really dope. I love it when, all the stars line up. And honestly, lately, like, everything for once in my life has really been going my way. You know what I'm saying? Because I really had to talk with God, like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? For once in my life. And, it's something I'm proud of. I was even valedictorian of my graduating class, when I got this job at the Wayne County Juvenile Detention Facility, and that was really huge for me. I was always the bad news bearer. I was always the one bringing bad news to the family. And, for the first time in my life, I bring good news. I bring good spirits. I bring love. I bring contribution. You know what I'm saying? And it feels really good. For the first time, I'm proud of myself, and I'm happy to make my family proud of me,
Bruh, with the tear in my eye, with a tear in my eye, brother. You know, it's funny. The last time I had a moment like this, man, I was in a traditional American Indian ceremony with this brother that I didn't even know. He was a Mayan brother from Central America, and he started telling his story about his people, about his land, his tierra, and everything he's been through. And something told him to keep fighting. Something told him, man, I can't give up. Man, it was his ancestors talking to him, man. And our ancestors speak to us for so many different reasons, man, and they tell us and they guide us.
Absolutely.
They guide us, man. They lead us to these moments, man, and lead us to have these times that we have, man. And it's, you know, sometimes you feel like you're behind the steering wheel, man, but you're not really doing the driving. Man, it's a greater force and a greater power that's leading you down that road, man. Absolutely. So you talked about a lot of different things, man. You talked about, you know, my partner. Look, I wouldn't be who I would have quit a long time ago if it wasn't for my partner. Just the same, right? Because you have those moments. Absolutely. And you got to have someone by your side, someone lifting you up.
Absolutely.
You know? So look, you got what you worked for. This studio. You got what you worked for, man. And so if you're going to need some of us that are in this room to help lift you up and to help propel you forward, man, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do by any means necessary, man. And we got enough people in our community, man, that we can get this thing funded, man. We can get some sponsors, right? You know, it's tough, man, in this country when you talk about capitalism and money and paper. You know, that stuff, you know, money talks. Absolutely. In this country, unfortunately, and dollars dictate.
It's almost as if money has replaced God.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate it has to be that way, but guess what? We got enough people inside our community that can play that game as well, right? And so if we got to get some grant writers, we got to get some sponsors, some underwriters, people that are creative enough to put some money to continue to push this stuff, because there needs to be more spaces like this, man. You know, you talked about doing healing circles, man. I mean, we need more healing circles, right? We need more work with our youth, man. You know, needs to be more contributions to community, right? And so it's a beautiful thing, man. I mean, and again, everybody is contributing where they can, right? Everyone's contributing where they can. I mean, listen, all of our people were storytellers. Our people were healers. Our people were dancers. Our people were artists. We need all of those people in our community.
They were medicine people.
Yes. We need all of those people in our community to come together and contribute to you know, initiatives like this and beyond, man. That's the only way our people are going to eventually stand up, man. And there's always going to be some good things and some bad things, man. But you're doing good things, man. And, you know, you got to believe it, man. I know it's hard work, man. I know it's hard.
I take a lot of deep breaths, you know.
It's all good,
man. Get
you
through the day, man.
It's all good.
For sure. But, you know, I'm grateful for every opportunity. I just you know, I want to continuously teach people, especially our young people, that change is definitely possible. You know, there was a time in my life where I thought that what I was what I was always going to be. You know, that's how much of a product of my environment I was. But I didn't understand the concept of self-worth. You know what I'm saying? And now I do, you know, I do. I never knew how to answer the question when people say, is your glass half empty or half full? Or when people said, hey, you got to stop and smell the roses. I never really understood what that meant. I never knew how to answer them questions until now, you know? And now I want to educate people. You know, I tell people all the time, when you read the Bible is full of people who had suffered and experienced loss, and then they shared the story of their journeys, and then in the end, through their own faith, you know what I'm saying, and their faith in a higher power and in God, you know what I'm saying, that they were rewarded, you know, and it's like now I have more now than I've ever had in my life, you know, and everything that I have, they can't take it away from me, you know. When I first went to prison, man, they took everything from me, you know, and it's because I didn't get it the right way. I wasn't in the right mindset. I wasn't mature enough. Maybe I didn't deserve the things that I had. But now everything that I have, I am so truly grateful for. You know what? Sometimes I deter from wearing this chain because a lot of people see this chain and they think this guy's a drug dealer. He's a dope man. He's doing something. You know, this honestly, this was a gift from my family when I got out of prison. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so grateful for it. And I wear it with dignity, pride, you know, with honor. You know what I'm saying? A gift that came from my family. But, you know, people in society, they eat with their eyes and they come up with their own conclusions of who I am. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, one thing that I learned is you cannot control people. You cannot control their thoughts, their actions, their words, any of that. So every day I choose to walk in my power and walk in my purpose, and hopefully that's enough to change minds and change hearts.
That's right. So if you're watching this right now, comment, share this with somebody that needs to hear it. There's somebody somewhere. There's a brother. There's a cousin that you have. There's a Theo that you have right now that's struggling. You need to share it with them so they can hear these moments of how brothers are coming together. Like, yeah, look at us. You know, this brother just talked about he was incarcerated, locked up in the system. Look, I got tattoos. What? He's got tattoos. We got chains, right? We don't got to be what anybody else wants us to be. There is an opportunity right now that we can make a change, right? Something inside of you is speaking you to do right, to do better, to do more. We can help you. Right? Asking for help might be difficult to do, but it's doable. It's difficult, but it's doable, right? And so a lot of people talk about healing. When healing shows up in the form of discipline, then, man, we need you to make a decision. We need you to make some choices, right? I tell everybody that I work with, life is unfortunately about choices sometimes.
Absolutely. Every day you got a choice to make.
Absolutely. You know, so there's opportunity, right? No matter where you're at in life for us to do right. You know what I'm saying? I had some choices earlier when I was at that Macy's counter in the bathroom trying to see if I wanted the Gucci or the Armani cologne. You know, I didn't know what I was going to do, you know, but I think I made the right choice.
That's
Smelling
right.
fresh as a daisy right now.
That's right. That's
you know?
right. No doubt, man. So tell me, man, what's the difference do you see? Like, what are some of the biggest challenges from being here in Michigan and being in San Antonio?
My God, it's hot as hell in San Antonio right now. It's hot as hell. You walk outside, you feeling burnt. You walk outside, look, the UV rays in San Antonio, I mean, you're going to get burnt. You better walk outside with some sunblock. But honestly, man, you know, like, it's interesting, man. Like, I've done a lot of travels around the, you know, the continental United States and being able to speak with a lot of our people, man. You know, at its heart, a lot of our people want the same thing. You know, we have a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, that are performers, you know, that have a mission and they're trying to do things and make an impact in their communities, man. So, you know, I've been fortunate enough to garner a lot of support, you know, for my work. People come around me and they're like, well, you know, I don't know what it is about you, but I just like you, you know, for whatever reason, you know. And so, you know, when you win people over that way, man, you can help build your narrative. You know, contrary to popular belief, I'm not Chingo Bling, but you know, I don't know if anybody's ever mistaken me for him, you know, but I hear he's an interesting cat.
Listen, I had him on my podcast last year, recently, and man, you guys got to collab together, bro. For real, I'm serious.
All right, Chingo Bling, if you watching this right now, call me.
Tap in, brother. Tap in with the brother Maximo Anguiano. Let's talk about the Audaz to the max, man.
So as of late this summer, at the beginning of the summer, man, I had this vision down in San Antonio that we would create this sketch comedy show. And, you know, there's many vehicles to deliver messages to people. You know, we talk about mental health. We talk about relationships and how we treat each other. We talk about, you know, uplifting people of color in this country and some of our narratives. You know, I partner with a great company called Teatro Audaz San Antonio, which is a nonprofit organization that does theater. They've been around for about 11 years. And, you know, I helped, you know, found them. I've seen them grow. And I said, we got to come together and do this. So we're at the Rah Rah Room monthly on North San Pedro. And we have an amazing sketch comedy series that I created. And it's very much like Saturday Night Live, but with the San Anto style. You know, Saturday Night Live made us come up live from New York. So we're doing something midweek, monthly in San Antonio to use that vehicle of performances, of raunchy hole-in-the-wall nightclubs to communicate some of these message in a creative way. And it's been wildly successful. This is our first season. We're 3 shows in. And the shows have been amazing. The last show we had sponsored by Crumble Cookie. So they came out and gave cookies to everybody. You know, it's just been an amazing experience thus far. We've had several performance acts, artists come in. You know, you get a little bit of it all. You get some spoken word, you get some performances, you get live theater, live sketch comedy. Some of the sketches really land. Some people are still thinking about, and I know that because right after we get done with the show, we get a chance to vibe with the crowd and people that were in the audience, and they're like, oh my God, this was my favorite sketch. Or, oh my God, I loved when y'all did this. And it's really rewarding to get that immediate, because just like when you do live performances as in a podcast, it's a relationship like mentoring. The performer gives something to the audience, and then the audience gives it back to you. And that's the fulfillment of performance art. That's the fulfillment of why we do this work, and why we get up on stage, and why we have the lights on us, and why we hold the microphone. There was a time in my life where I wasn't always as comfortable speaking in front of people, and now I do a lot of things in front of people where I'm speaking. People ask me, man, you're really good on the mic, and I say, well, it come with a lot of work. It's come with a lot of work of practicing and rehearsing and saying, okay, if I really want to do this, and I've got to practice, I got to get good at it. I got to do something that's going to differentiate me from the next person. And so, the show will be back in San Antonio again. That's to the Max Sketchy Nights in San Antonio. Make sure you look us up on social media. You get there, you're not going to want to miss it. The reviews have been raving, and so you're not going to want to miss the next show. We've got a lot of good things in store for people.
That's right, man. That's dope. I keep up with you on Facebook, and every time I see you, bro, you're always busy. You're always building. You're always networking. You're always educating, man. I love to see you in motion, man.
That's right, man. We're going to keep it live for our people, man. We got to stay up on the up and up, man, because, like we talked about, man, mental health. There's a lot of people that are down. You get into a space, man, it don't take but 5 seconds. You can change someone's whole day. You can change someone's whole vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
You can uplift somebody. Somebody needed to hear that message. And so I think about, we don't need the opportunity to flop. We can flip. We can flop forward, or we can flip someone's mentality. Absolutely. You got an opportunity. I don't care if I'm walking in the gas station to pump some gas. I got an opportunity that moment to flip somebody's mindset, to flip someone's moment. And instead, I could flop and lose the opportunity to perhaps change someone's outlook on their whole day, man. I mean, there's a lot of bad stories. Look, I don't need to tell you about our people that are not here anymore. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of people that we know that aren't with us anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
There was a brother that you mentioned earlier. Man, I remember you hit me up and you said, man, did you hear about so-and-so's daughter that passed away? Mm-hmm. And so rest in peace to our homie. I'm not gonna say his name. They know who they are, right? I don't want to put it all out there, but one of our homies' daughter unfortunately passed away, and that's a hard reality to live with, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, definitely, man. Redefining manhood. We all grew up, and we were always taught to, being emotional or speaking, talking about your emotions was a weakness. You shouldn't share your feelings with nobody because you can't trust nobody because they'll use it against you later. Just all these things about, being tough and things like that. Like, I feel like it did a huge disservice to manhood, in our community, because it brought about gun violence, gang violence, domestic violence, because so many men didn't know what to do with their emotions. They didn't know what to do with their anger. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have any other options, so they just lashed out at people. You know what I'm saying? And that's how a lot of people ended up in prison. A lot of people ended up dead. I tell people all the time, I'm collecting obituaries like people collect baseball cards. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad and it's unfortunate, especially for people who live in urban communities, because realistically, you can't even afford to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, people really, like, when people passing away, they're trying to throw, fundraisers and things like that, because you can't even afford to cremate your loved one, let alone try to bury them. You know what I'm saying? So, I just think that we need to really redefine society, redefine humanity, be more empathetic, be more kind and compassionate and loving towards one another. You know what I'm saying? Be willing to help. There's nothing wrong with being willing to, be the bigger person and you have people who all it takes is a hug. All it takes is a I'm sorry. All it takes is I forgive you. All it takes is an I love you. Mm-hmm. And all that stuff can go away. Yeah. One of the things that I do, I compliment people. And you see people light up. It could be a person having a terrible day and you give them a compliment. And it just changes the whole direction of their day just by a compliment. That's the type of joy, that's the type of power, that's the type of energy that I like to, distribute to people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, I always believed in the concept that each one teach one, and there's nothing wrong with complimenting people and being kind to people, please, thank you, and excuse me goes a long way. And I see in today's generation, a lot of them don't even have the decency of having mannerisms. You know what I'm saying? You don't see people holding the door for each other. And it's not just young people. Yesterday I was walking in the store and there was an older person. And they see me coming right behind them. They didn't hold the door for me like I would have for them. They just let it go. I'm done with the door, and now that it's on you. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't hold no grudges, but it's just, the worst thing is to know better and not show better. Yeah, you know? But listen, Maximo, thank you, brother. I appreciate you for coming on here. I appreciate your energy, your time. I'm glad you're here and you get the opportunity to meet all these great people from the community. And, man, I always got nothing but love, respect, and admiration for you, brother. Yes, sir. Keep up the good work, and I'm going to keep holding things down over here. It's
likewise. It's all love, my brother. I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much for supporting us. Find me online. There's only one Maximo, so when you Google me, you're only going to find me. And then let's stay connected. Let's see how we can help each other, how we can continue to uplift each other, how we can work together and bring our people upwards.
That's right. Much love to you guys. Stay tuned in about 20 minutes. We're coming with a whole nother live interview with powerful people from our community with great stories of redemption and solidarity. Shout out to Detroit Action, and we'll be up in 20 minutes.